Well, yes, here we are again. It's a while since I've done my diary, and I've got quite a few things to say. In fact, 2 or 3 topics. So let's start off telling you what's on my mind. First of all, I want to talk about goat tracks. Now, goat tracks are what I call as, I suppose, old habits in our brain, which are established very early in life, usually from our parents and our environment. So I actually think that a lot of human behavior is determined by these goat tracks. And let me give you an example of one. For example, the idea that people should speak in a quiet way in public and not in a loud way is, in my opinion, a goat track. It's a cultural habit or norm established in some cultures but not in others. My culture in Ireland, definitely, we were not encouraged to speak loudly. We were told that, in fact, such loud voices, to speak in a loud voice, was quite rude. Now, I've been in other cultures where that is not the case at all. Not at all. Many cultures in Africa, South America, Asia, loudness is part of the culture. And indeed, in Australia, very interestingly, which is also a kind of Anglo-Celtic culture, it's also okay to speak in a loud voice. But I still get a negative reaction when I hear it. And that's because it's a goat track. It was established early in my life. And even though I've reflected on it for quite a long time, still doesn't stop my subconscious mind from rejecting it immediately. Soon I override it, and my conscious mind says, that's fine, that's okay. There's an initial negative reaction. I'll give you an example. A few days ago, I was out for my morning walk, and there I was watching a view on my own, and I heard some other walkers come behind me. And as is typical in Australia, they will speak in a loud voice. There were 2 couples, not connected to each other, but they were speaking, each couple was speaking in a loud voice to each other. And as they approached me, I could hear this loud voice. Now, that would be regarded as rude in the UK or Ireland. You're supposed to approach people in a quiet way and not intrude on my private space. Well, in fact, I think what the Aussies are doing is they're kind of letting you know that they're around and that they're arriving, and they regard it as very polite to do that. And they chat to each other in a loud voice, and then when they arrive with me, they start greeting me, and we're all having a great chat, a very superficial chat, of course, but we all kind of behave to each other as if we're long lost friends. And of course we're not, we've just met. Now, in the UK or Ireland, that would be changed. You would approach people quietly, and only when you've got to know them would you start to speak in this loud voice and engage in what the Australians call banter, which is everybody talking in a loud voice to each other and behaving as if they all know each other. So this banter fascinates me. This is a fascinating topic for me. And on the same walk, the same day, another guy met me coming in the opposite direction, and I had to step out of his way and wait for him. And he approached me, and as he passed me, he said, "How you going, boss?" And boss. That sort of assumes to me that he knows me. He doesn't know me at all. And it's sort of, again, the sort of thing in Ireland or UK when I was young, they would never have done that. It's an over familiarity to me. But of course, I now know I've been in Australia for 35 years. And as one local Australian said to me, "You're almost Australian now, Don." So I don't know. I still get that negative reaction when I get that banter and that over familiarity. Anyway, that's one topic. Another topic I want to talk about is, yeah, just what are these diaries about? I think not just my diaries, but everything on YouTube that I'm doing, I suppose there's an overall aim of trying to help people who are moving from one culture to another. That's something I've done many times in my life, and I've done it in Australia, of course, as well. I've come as a migrant here, and yeah, I think everything in my recordings is aimed at trying to assist people. Now that raises the question: why should I want to try to assist people? Trying to help people. That seems to be a common uh, issue for me as a in my life. I always seems to be looking at people, and if I feel that they need assistance, well, I empathize with them, and I want to help them. I used to think, oh, that's a good thing. People should help people, should do that. But in fact, I'm not so sure now. I'm beginning to have second thoughts about it because I'm not so sure that it is actually a, a healthy position to take, because it kind of assumes that I'm a bit superior to someone who's in trouble. I'm not in trouble, you're in trouble, I can help you. It's a bit condescending and patronizing, is it not? And I just wonder if this empathy, really, whether it's a positive thing or not. And I have noticed that people do not always respond well to being offered assistance. Yes, of course they do many times, and I'm very happy with having been able to assist people many times. But on the other hand, I've noticed there are a lot of people who just don't like to be helped. And they'll find all sorts of ways to let you know that. And they'll sort of say, well, I think it's too good to be true. What's your secret agenda? Why are you trying to help me? And I've noticed a lot of that, especially in my latter years. And I don't think it's a straightforward thing that you just, you know, those who are doing well help those who are not so well. That's a very simplified, simplistic view of life. So I'm reviewing that whole attitude that I have towards empathy and helping people. Yeah, another issue I've been thinking about a lot recently is friendship. Well, I'm always thinking about friendship, but I've been reflecting on the weaknesses of bilateral friendship. When I talk about friendships, I usually mean bilateral. That's, between one person and another. And I've just realized, well, as I said before in many other places, that's a strategy of mine for dealing with loneliness. But my recent reflections are not as positive as they used to be on this topic. Um, I find that almost everything gets in the way of friendship, bilateral friendships. Oh, there are so many barriers to it. People can join some group and solve their loneliness problem that way. They join some social group or a sporting group or an exercise group or something, or they join a religion or something. But whatever it is, those groups, maybe a hobby or something, they are barriers to bilateral friendships. If they have to choose between their group or their religion, they will always choose it. You will be pushed aside no matter what you've done to assist that person, no matter how strong your friendship over many, many years. In the end, if you are in the way of the group identity of your friend, whatever that may be, religion or sport or a pastime, then you will lose. It's weak. So bilateral friendship, I've realized, I used to think it was so strong, but no, I realize now it's very, very weak. Other things get in the way, of course, work, bilateral bilateral friendships as well, such as work, yeah, family. But I've noticed that with bilateral friendships, how weak and fragile and delicate a flower it is. You can have friendships for a very long time, but they will be ended by one or other partner on a whim because of some event that happens or some imagined slight, perhaps. So much weaker than I thought. Um, yeah, and finally, the last topic. I mean, I have a lot more to say about friendship, but those are my latest thoughts. Uh, yeah, my other topic for tonight is populism. Well, I've been starting with this YouTube project. I've been doing, my memoirs. I've been doing uh, all of teaching videos and podcasts, and yeah, I'm doing these diaries and all these things. So I've come up against this issue of populism. For example, I met a friend in a club recently, and or not a friend, he was an acquaintance, and I was asking. He was talking to me about YouTube. Well, I'm interested in YouTube, of course, because of what I'm doing. And he said, "Oh, I've actually been doing this YouTube thing for about a year and a half." Oh, I said, "That's very interesting. Tell me about it." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, what do you do?" I said, and he said, "Well, I'm a photographer." So I thought, "Oh, yeah, okay, photographer, interesting." So how many likes do you get? And he says, "About 1 million, 1 million." And I said, "Wow, that sounds good." And he said, "Yes, YouTube want to partner with me because they want to monetize me because I've got so many likes." I said, "Oh, well, what are you photographing?" And he said, "Oh, well, just my friends actually underwater." And I thought, "What? Underwater friends?" And he said, "Yes." Well, he said, "Yes, they are models." He said, "They're females and they're models." And I thought, well, yeah, okay. So he's photographing models underwater once a week. And he says, "Yes, I get these millions of people who seem to like it." And he says, "When I don't publish my photograph during the week, I get all these signs on YouTube with people waving their hands saying, 'Hurry up, give us another one. We liked the last one.'" Well, when I think of my attempts, this makes me very sad. Here are my attempts on YouTube to talk about serious topics like um, how to learn a second language and my memoirs of my life, which I think are quite interesting. But all of this, I can only get a handful of interviews of interest, people who are interested. Whereas this guy can get 1 million likes because he photographs these people underwater. So it just makes me sad to think that that's what it's all about. This populism is like everywhere. And it's an issue definitely for me. So maybe what I need to do is to change my logo from Fossilbuster. Fossilbuster is my name, of course, on my podcast. Maybe I should change it to Fossilbuster Underwater. Okay, all right then. That's all for tonight.